What's going on? It's Mike from 424recording.com, and in today's video I'm talking about my favorite vocal mic, the Shure Beta 58A. Now, for years I used a Shure SM58. I'm sure you've used this mic as well. It's pretty much in every live club or recording studio across the world, around the world, and it's definitely probably one of the most famous mics, I would say. Everybody's heard of or used probably an SM57 or as an SM58. Now, I shouldn't generalize and say everybody's used one, but I'm sure at some point you've either seen some sort of documentation on these mics or heard something about them or heard people's take on them or seen them in use. So a bunch of people have emailed me over the years about my favorite vocal mic, my favorite mic to use with the 4-track, and I gotta say, probably I would be surprised if most 4-tracks didn't just come with an SM57. It almost seems like it should be packaged with them or was packaged with them, because I've seen a lot of people use them over the years. I've used that one a lot over the years, and it's just a very versatile mic to use, and a lot of people like them too because you could drop them. They're very hard to break. They're very resilient. So for years I used this SM58 on my vocals, mainly because I used to play live, and everywhere you played you would probably use this mic or an SM57 to sing through. And eventually I was like, my vocals always sound pretty good live, so maybe I'll just try using this. And I think this mic works really great because my voice is on the lower to mid end of the spectrum, and I think it accentuates frequencies that are pleasing to the timbre of my voice. So I just out of necessity decided, hey, let me just get my own. I wanted to get one with the switch because I started to play in my own band, Be Cool Cowboy. It was a solo project. I used a drum machine, a PA speaker, my own PA speaker, and I used the Sans amp, playing the guitar through the PA speaker. So I always had this PA speaker there, so I said, well, why don't I just do my own vocals as well? Because I mean, a lot of the places that I played was more DIY spaces, DIY, do it yourself, bring your own PA, bring your own vocals. So it just made sense to just mix my own sound, because most places I was playing, it was relying on myself to mix it. So I started getting more into, let me just bring my own vocal mic and I'll do that, just do my own full sound. I got inspired by the OCs and John Dwyer and a lot of videos of those guys playing. And but one thing that always struck me about those videos was that he almost was standing almost always in front of a PA speaker, which seemed like his own PA speaker, which he set up. And I was like, how does he do that without it feeding back like crazy? So I started doing some research online, and I came across this series of microphones, the Shure Beta series. And I think the one that he uses is either like a 57, Beta 57 or a Beta 58. And it turns out these are really great at combating feedback because of the polar pattern or the pickup pattern. So knowing that this one was always really good for my voice, I decided, hey, let me try this one out. I found one used, and I gotta say, I really like it. I think it's an improvement over the 58. One thing to mention about this is that it is maybe excites your voice more, or it has a similar frequency curve, but I think it's like +4 dB. So just overall, this is going to be louder than this right out of the gate, right off the bat. So that was a big reason I decided to go with a 58, because I had this setup. I had my own PA speaker. I was singing in front of it. And obviously, depending on how the monitor is set up, you can make sure that this doesn't have feedback, but this was a lot easier. I found overall the Beta 58A was a lot easier to just get the sound you wanted. I used this one on Me and the Machine and Wild Lies, and then sometime after that, between that, I got the 58A, and I've used that since on all my recordings. I'm not sure about Just a Trick. I'd have to look at the videos. I don't remember. I think I may have just used the condenser mic because I was doing something a little different with that. But what's the deal with this series of mics? I'm not really sure. To be honest, I was always very confused about the Shure Beta series, mainly just because of my experience with playing games and, you know, beta testing, I always thought like, oh, so that's like it's not like the full game. It's not the final version of the game. So I was always confused, like, is this a series of mics that's just sort of like a test? Or are they going to come out with, you know, like a beta 58A? It almost sounds like, hey, this one is just kind of like a test one we're putting out, and then we're going to put out the 58B or something. I don't know. Personally, I just was always confused about the nomenclature of these. But based on the price points, this seems like it's an upgraded version of this, which I guess that's the case. I'm sure there's plenty of other videos on the technical specs and sound tests and things like that. But just from my own experience, this did everything I needed it to do, and felt like it was a lot easier to achieve what I needed to achieve by just getting this mic. So, I mean, I still have the 58, obviously. This is a great mic. It's got a little switch on it, so if you get crazy feedback, you can shut it down. That was another reason I got this one with the switch. But overall, these are really cool. A friend of mine used to use, I think, I think there's one called Beta 87A or something. There's a couple different ones. There's also a kick drum one that I've used, and that sounds good too. But the real main reason was for the feedback, combating feedback. So you find yourself in a situation where you're getting a lot of feedback, or you're mixing your own stuff. That was like the really big reason. And also, like I said, the OC's inspiration, and just wondering like, well, how does he sing without it feeding back? He's always standing like right in front of it. So, and obviously depending on how you have things set up, monitors set up, you can combat feedback, but I don't know. I guess this is like a SM58 plus. Maybe that would have been a better naming convention for these. Personally, I just was always very confused. Maybe that's my own experience with them, but cool mics. And this is the one I'm using I think I used it on season 2 of the podcast. All the albums, like I said, I use it on the live album. I use it in a lot of the videos too. If you've seen, you might notice that in some of the videos where I use like a microphone for the sound. If you like an SM58, I think you would like a Beta 58A. But again, that was just my experience. You could probably do pretty much everything that you can do with this mic, So I think if you have one of these and you're happy with it, you're probably good to go. Because you can always raise the volume. Like I said, the +4 bump really doesn't make that big of a difference in if you have a mixer or a preamp or something. And obviously the frequency wave I think is a little bit different. But like I said, there's plenty of other videos to check out. I just wanted to relay that information for the people who I've spoken to over the years who asked me about it and why I decided to get this one. So in conclusion, not to repeat myself a million times, but it was mostly for feedback rejection. And like I said, I think if you like this mic, you will really like this one. It definitely accentuates a little bit more of the frequencies that this one does, and to me it's very pleasing to my voice. And I always liked an SM58, so it makes sense that the Beta 58A, if it truly is a super version of the 58, would do really well. So if you're in the market for either one of these mics, check out the affiliate links below. There's a couple links for Zounds. If you're not going to get these used, you can get them new there and help out the channel in the process. So I just want to say, don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel, you nerd. Godspeed, my friends. And I want to thank Steve, Jody, Andrew, Will, Matt, Devin, Patty, and James, and all my patrons at patreon.com/424recording for their support and continued support of all things 424 recording. So yeah,